So let's start by having you explain what the difference is between the UFC game we just saw come out last year and those old UFC games.
You mean last year's game to this year's game, or
no.
the old ones?
Yeah.
Oh, the old ones suck. You know, they were bad. They were about as bad as you could get. Everything that you could do wrong with that video game, they did wrong. And I knew that when we finally found somebody, the right partner to do the new UFC video game, we had to build the brand up, get it big enough to where we could get another deal, and we couldn't mess this one up. We had to come out with a great game. And it all worked out perfect. You know, hooking up with THQ, they were very passionate about the sport, very passionate about the brand. They got into this thing, and they created an incredible video game. And thank God it can make people forget about the first game that we came out with.
Now, can you talk about the success of this game, and was there any translation to the success of the actual fight and brand that you guys have?
Yeah, obviously, you know, when you have a great brand like this and an exciting sport with exciting athletes, if you can capture that inside a video game, the video game should be successful. And they did it. They did it. It's the great thing about this game, the one that they have out now, the new one that's coming out, 2010, it's so good that you actually think you could walk by and think somebody's watching the UFC. That's how good it is.
What are the challenges going to this year, since you guys will be going head-to-head with EA for the first time?
I don't think there's any challenges going head-to-head with EA. EA is the Me Too. They're the, Johnny-come-lately. We talked to EA Sports, and you know what EA Sports said? It's not a real sport. Those aren't real athletes, and we'd never make a video game out of that. So like a typical goofball company, this one comes out and does very well, and they're like, oh, okay, me too. Now it's a sport. Now it's a sport, and these guys are real athletes because we want to make some money off it. EA sucks.
So can you talk a little bit about this new game and what people can be excited about?
Yeah, there's lots of different things now. Last season, people were bummed out that there were no southpaws. Now, not only are there southpaws, but if a guy actually can switch up when he fights, it'll do it in the game. There's more submissions. The gameplay now, when they set up submissions, they go from one submission to another. It's so realistic, it's unbelievable. There's new characters this year. I mean, the game literally went from here to here. I mean, that's how big of a jump it is in just 1 year, which is amazing.
Can you talk about how involved you are in these games?
Well, originally when we first sat down and sat down with THQ, I got involved getting out there, getting all the fighters, telling these guys the type of game we wanted, that we wanted to keep this thing real, just like the UFC is, and truly show what it's like being. You want to feel like you're watching the UFC when you're playing your game. So I'd say my involvement was I got this thing kicked off, and now as it's rolling, I make sure that my staff and my team gets THQ whatever they need as fast as they need it. And basically just being a good partner.
Can you give us a sense of how popular games are amongst the actual fighters?
Huge. That's all these guys do. When these guys go away to training camp, they're usually there for 6 to 8 weeks. They train, eat, sleep, and play video games. That's all they do.
And when it comes to the bigger picture, do you see this UFC going along the lines of what's been done with the WWE?
Yeah, or Madden, any of the big sports franchises. I see this thing going on forever.
Now, with the WWE, for example, they've also added, the other leagues, and you guys own other leagues as well. Do you see expansion in that way with Pride and things?
There's a lot of different things we could do. You're right, we own a lot of different leagues. The other thing we have is the Ultimate Fighter. I think the Ultimate Fighter has a very cool storyline where you could create a very good video game out of that, too.
And so far, you guys have stuck with the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Do you see an audience on other consoles as well?
Absolutely, yeah. And I couldn't speak to exactly how that's going to work and when that's happening, but yes, we'd like to be on every console.
And what is your ultimate goal looking forward when it comes to the role of this video game and growth of your company?
Well, the thing that I love about the video game is this thing's an education tool for millions of people out there that don't know anything about the UFC right now. Kids will start playing it. They'll learn all the submissions. They'll learn what all the submissions are called, how to apply them, how to set them up. They'll learn all about the stand-up. They'll learn about these fighters, who they are, their names. I mean, it's a really cool marketing tool for us.
How good are you at this game?
I suck. I suck.